Welcome to another episode of the Coffee Roaster Warm Up Sessions. Sheesh, almost sounds like almost like a tongue twister. It's like
That's why I don't do it.
Anyways, welcome to another episode of the Coffee Roaster Warm Up Sessions podcast. Thank you so much for joining us once again on another episode. We're getting through these episode 91. Nice. We already have a few more planned for the next couple weeks. This month will be a little busy for us. You should tighten that maybe. It's gonna be a little busy for us. I'm leaving to Guatemala literally in like 2 days, and then I get back. I'm here for 2-3 weeks, and then I fly out to Guatemala again. Yeah. So if we miss like an episode in there, show us some grace, please. Yep. Where we'll try our best to hop back on the schedule, keep some tasty content going your way. Hopefully have some fun guests in the very near future. Let's, as always, let's pour some batch brew.
Man, the sound isn't the same in a paper cup.
I'm telling you, there's something about these Hasami mugs I absolutely love, especially no handle.
Oh yeah, I like that one a lot.
Sheesh. It's kind of nice on the aromas, actually. Nice. Yep. That's nice. Oh. No, that's a slapper of a batch. That's a pleasant surprise. It's not nuts, but it's like it's not nuts. It's not like a El Diego Bermudez, but it's these coffees I really like. They have a lot of complexity, pleasant clarity, not extreme clarity, but nice clarity. Acidity is there. Everything is there. It just doesn't have tropical fruit. It's not it's not anything wild like that. Oh God! That was literally that went down the wrong pipe, and I was like, I need to hurry up and swallow this until this goes all over the mic and all over you.
That would have been that would have been a good moment for the pod.
We need to do like a Spotify Wrapped, but like a mirror Wrapped, where we just at the end of the year just combine these moments. But sheesh, that was not fun. Anyways, this is tasty.
I'm picking up like dried fruit.
This is an excellent brew, dude. This is pretty nailed. What were you doing on the grind?
11.5.
That seems to be like a nice sweet spot right there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, dried fruit for sure. Would you say, that's a really nice dried fruit. That's for sure. Yeah. It's reminiscent of our Sulawesi.
Yeah.
Like that dried fruit flavor. Mm-hmm. Is very nice in the body. Wow, this is actually really great. I don't know. The
only thing I would say is this coffee is not super like punchy. I don't think it should be.
Once again, it's not punchy in a Diego way, or like in a natural way, but the sweetness on it is very vibrant.
It's balanced.
It's very balanced. No, this is like both a solid roast and a solid coffee, I think. And this is the stuff that, honestly, I've brewed this on pour over multiple times. This is the best brew I've had of it.
That's wild. Man, is that what I'm doing for Brewer's Cup? It's just a batch brew.
Bring the ratio.
Oh, that would be wild.
That'd be excellent. and just make your whole presentation about connection and communication and about less about gear and more about enjoying the cup.
Something like that. Except Brewers doesn't require much of a presentation. It's more about flavor.
Really?
Yeah, so much to call out.
Dude.
But yeah.
When in doubt, dude, stone fruit.
Yeah.
Tastes like stone fruit.
One thing, I'm glad this brew is good because one thing Alex gave me a little piece of advice. Just don't say it's over extracted.
Why?
No, he's in general in Brewers Cup. I'm like, well, I won't be on the pod. I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, fair enough.
He was also telling me stories.
Slight astringency.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a competition. It'll be a lot of fun stories, I think.
Yeah. Well, can you grab that bag? Let's give it a shout out to these folks. This is not a mirror coffee.
I'll be honest,
I have everything coming out of my body.
Dude, that could be a fun podcast.
What?
When coffee leaves the body.
Which ways? Friends, this is straight out of... I've never heard of these guys. Maybe once I've seen them. They're straight out of what? Salt Lake City or Utah?
Is it Salt Lake or Park City or... Salt Lake?
I don't know. Salt Lake City, yeah.
Nice.
La Barba, if you're watching this on the pod, you'll see a bag right here.
Mm-hmm.
La Barba, I guess they were established in 2012. Is that a B Corp? Sorry? No, maybe not. That's the Barba. That's the logo. Gotcha. Yeah. This is a single origin Guatemala Jenner Villa Toro Lot 3 Especial, which actually is a coffee that we cupped.
Yep.
And didn't choose.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that. Like a coffee that we didn't choose to buy as a roaster, we passed up on it. Somebody picks it up and turns it into this delicious cup. Like that's phenomenal. I love that.
So is this wash coffee?
I think it's I actually think it's I do think it's a washed.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that it is.
I mean, I hope
it tastes clean.
It tastes like a wash.
Yeah.
But I think some of those Villa Toro Naturals were also weren't like crazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like fermenty, that is.
Yeah.
They were just...
Yeah. Actually, I might be headed over straight to their farm. Or we might. Yeah. Depending on how scheduling works. But anyways, tasty coffee. Go check them out if you haven't. They're pretty low key, but they're doing a really great job. Mm-hmm. So kudos to them.
I mean, it's a big 10 years. They've been around for 10 years. That's a big deal.
Would you? I mean, I feel like, after being in the coffee business for 10 years, this is a great segue. You'd probably get bored of coffee.
I'm glad to teach you up for that one.
That was horrible. I just couldn't help it. I'm like, do I just make this very naturally as if we didn't plan this conversation? All right, folks. Would you get bored of working in coffee after it's been 10 years since you've owned La Barba or Mir?
Yeah.
I mean, 10 years is actually, to be honest, will probably fly by. We have 7 more to go.
For sure. Oh, that's a big... I mean, I think...
That's not a big question, though.
That's a big question because I don't... Okay, stepping back. Let's step way back. Even outside of coffee. Like, what are some things that you just, get bored of, That's a thought to process. But then also to think about, man, I don't think it's very common nowadays to do the same thing for, years. I feel like especially our generation, it's like the entrepreneurs and all that, and it's like you're always starting something new and opening up a 3rd, 6th, 8th, 12th company or something like that. There's this big push for more, and I think sometimes because of that, it's really hard to see people get bored with something because there's always new vision for something. Does that make sense? Or am I just losing everyone, including
then
yourself?
It's hard to get bored?
To a degree, right? Like if you're always starting something new, if you never spend enough time to get bored with something.
Sure, or you're starting something new because you're so bored with.
Or hey, that's very good.
That you
Actually,
have
that's
you're
different
bored.
train of
Your
thought than I had.
threshold for boredness is very
It's
low.
very low.
So it's like
Including
you
your
have to be
attention.
you have to be extremely stimulated at all times.
So then,
Starting a new
does that mean
company.
like you're always bored? I don't know. Okay, this is getting too complicated.
This
okay.
is profound.
Anyway.
we're deciding the
My
secrets
point
of the
is,
universe.
yeah, my point is sometimes like actually experiencing like this consistency is a good thing, and you don't have to get bored. Like for me, I don't think I can get bored of drinking coffee.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's fair. I don't think
so.
I ever will.
Yeah.
You know, at some point maybe I might just be like a casual drinker. Like, back in my days, I used to roast coffee. We had a little coffee roasting company, and we used to drink lots of coffee every day. You know, like just reminiscing back. Like, but I'm just a casual drinker. Like, I'll go into your mom and pop shop or whatever. It's like, whatever. It's just brown juice. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever like stop or think I probably won't ever think it's gross. Actually, but by the way, just a small little podcast break. This is cooling down. And I'm looking at those tasting notes on the bag, and I'm like, wow, that is spot on. The tea is very there. They are not. That's pretty vague tea, because. But
What kind of tea? It's okay. I think I'm tasting more dried fruit on the back end.
no, I actually green apple plum tea is. I think I would agree with them. But anyways, yeah. But what I was saying was just like, I don't think I'll ever get bored of it or not want to drink it. I can see myself maybe in like 30 years just be like, that was a season of my life. But hopefully that's not the case. I don't know.
I mean, the other struggle, maybe this is on the other side of the coin, is I can't drink coffee without over evaluating it. Like, when was the last time you just had a cup of coffee without thinking about the flavor notes or thinking about what you're experiencing? Just chug.
It's very valid.
I don't remember when I did that.
I think that now that you say that, I'm like, that is actually the reason why I don't think I'll ever get bored of it.
Exactly.
However, you know, on the other side of the spectrum, sometimes like encourages the boredness, because you feel like, I don't know, there's like ruts I get into where I'm like, nothing tastes good, nothing is satisfying, everything sucks. Like both criticizing our coffees, but also like there's been times where I've bought like 5-6 roasters bags, and I'm like, I don't like any of these. And I'm like, cool, I'm actually really bored right now because I don't know. Maybe my brewing's wrong. Maybe it's, I mean, I always like to blame it on the roaster because that's what you do. You know, if your coffee sucks, you just blame it on them, because it's probably not your water or your poor pouring technique or your over extracted brew. I don't know.
Always. Yeah.
But you know that it's like a double-edged sword there almost.
Right.
But
yeah, because I don't think I can, with the whole evaluation of every cup, I think that for me it also becomes like frustrating.
yeah,
And I think that frustration sometimes makes me want to not care.
yeah,
But I can't. It's also similar with like if I'm working on bar and I'm pouring pretty bad that day, like I don't, like, yes, I want to give up. I'm like, dang, I don't want to be on bar. I don't want to pour these lattes anymore. They suck. But at the end of the day, the inner passion, the drive, the motivation is like, I just want to pour a good latte. You know what I mean? Some nice latte art. Yeah. Same thing with tasting a cup. It's like, man, I've tasted all these coffees, but I really want that quote unquote God shot coffee.
yeah.
You know, like when I did that pod, that's what we were talking about. I was just like, man, it just leaves you in a place where you're craving for more. You know, and that's a frustrating part. That's also, it's weird because that also makes me want to be bored, but I can't be bored.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's a little combination. I mean, for me, it's kind of like like workload wise, like there's a threshold where if I'm really overloaded, my productivity skyrockets. Like I'm like, how the heck did I accomplish so much in a day?
Right.
But that's when I'm like panicking because I need to get stuff done. And then when it crosses the threshold, my brain just turns off and I'm like, I'm not doing anything.
Yeah.
And I can't, I'm like, I feel almost paralyzed
Right.
to do anything. And so it's almost like that, but with interest, where it's like, it's so challenging and you're looking for like that specific roast or that flavor profile and that, you know, something that's really, really excellent. And you're trying. And for me, it's like, that's oftentimes leads to motivate me a lot. But sometimes I think if it's like way too much and discouraging, that I'm like,
right,
I don't want anything to do with this. But that hasn't lasted very long.
Yeah. I think it's also a personality thing. Like both of us are fairly driven, fairly passionate about the craft. We've kind of done the same thing.
Enneagram ones.
Yeah, we've done the same thing over and over again for a long time. Like I probably have worked in 2 major industries all my adulthood, and I haven't done anything else, kind of thing. So same. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like part personality. But I think with all of that said, there's also a lot of things in coffee that we do that are monotonous or could be perceived as boring. Like 100%. We do it over and over and over again. Like people ask me all the time, it's like, dude, do you not get bored opening the cafe? Like right now, especially in the last year, every shift is a open and close. And even back my last stem last year at Makeworth, it was like that too. Like you come in, you open and you close. So you're doing the same task sheet over and over again. You have, 30 minutes to open, you have 30 minutes to close. So you got to mop the floors and dial in the coffee that day. So does that get boring? The weird thing is like, I don't know. I've been in coffee for like 5 years and I still look forward to dialing in.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. The bad thing is, the routine can be pretty monotonous.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Not the routine of dialing in, though.
No, not the act of dialing in.
There's other things,
I
think, in that routine that do get boring.
Right.
It's like,
that's what I mean.
well, I'm going through the task list all over again.
Yeah,
for sure. And I think I've worked a little bit behind bar, and I always enjoyed dialing in. That was always a fun part of my job. Opening, like most mornings, even though I opened at like 5:30 in the morning, that was still kind of fun because it was just like 30 minutes of, just me, me and the bean, the elephant bean.
Dude, that's the best name ever.
I love it. I can't get over it. Last time Kyle sent me the elephant emoji, I lost it.
I get those messages on my watch and I look over on Barn to see the elephant emoji and be like, he knows.
It's so good. Pick up our Wilmer Castillo coffee. That's the elephant bean. Anyway, sorry.
Too good.
Yeah, just me and the bean in the morning. It's like 5:30.
Mark that statement, me and the bean.
I can't.
Wait, did you have a calibrating espresso playlist?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I had exactly 3 songs.
Yeah, I had a song that me driving from home to the cafe, I was just bumping it the whole time. And then guess what? You go into the cafe and you're still bumping it, like just like Shallow on repeat, and it's just vibey.
Slender Bodies.
Yeah,
Henry Green.
Yeah. It's like you're just. It almost feels like you're cruising the whole morning shift. You're cruising. But anyways,
how can that be boring? That's exciting,
guys. It's like, and then you're just, just dialing in by yourself. It's super quiet. Mm-hmm. Like, when sunrise happens at opening shift, it's unreal. But yeah, where I was going with that was, I think for me right now, the most monotonous thing is really just production roasting. Like, we have 10 batches to do or whatever. It's just like, okay, next. next. And
I
it's
mean,
just
you're
the
literally
rhythm.
mimicking the drum.
Yeah, literally the rhythm of like the drum and the beans. You're just like, okay, cool.
That's a different version
I
of
get-
you and the bean.
Yeah, that is not a good version. That's the version I don't enjoy as much, you know.
man.
So
I can't get elephant bean out of my... Just see a bunch of elephants in the drum.
oh god, we need to do something with that.
Yeah,
we need to create
okay.
some kind of logo or
T-shirt.
Whoa, a T-shirt. Some.
Oh man.
Anyways, if I were to only be doing those things, I would get bored of coffee. Like that's the reality of it.
The elephant bean. All right, folks. I don't know if y'all are distracted as we are with the elephant bean. I did not name it that. Mark, where did you find the elephant bean? It's actually the Margot Gipe varietal, folks. Yeah, it's a great varietal. We enjoy it. Yeah. We still
what
have
direction are we taking?
Yeah,
this?
we're taking this in the good direction. Okay, the direction is a fact. Like, there's monotonous stuff. And I think that's okay. Like, we have to embrace the monotonous side of coffee. That's fine. But I think for me, again, like, even though there's something that's on repeat, there is a dose of excitement in the dial-in. And that also has to do with the fact that the coffees that I get to work with, it's not the same thing over and over again. I think for us, like, especially as a roasting company, right now we haven't done this a lot because we went through that big transition in the launch, took up a lot of our energy and time, but we're cupping samples quite often. And I don't think cupping samples is ever boring. Brings that excitement to the other side of, you know, knowing that you have to production roast that coffee. So there's not necessarily a balance. There's like a little bit of a tension there between the monotonous things you do, but then you also know that there's excitement on the other side. I'm going to take this a whole different route. So go with me on this. In the cafe, for me, like, I don't get bored of my regulars, even though it's the same people I see, because there's relationship and there's a journey being created with that consistency. And I think a lot of the times when people ask that question, they're looking at it from the perspective of like, do you get bored with coffee because it's the same beverage you drink all the time? But we always say this on the pod, coffee is so complex, like relationships, like people. Therefore, there is a dose of excitement, even though you're drinking the same beverage all the time.
Listen, I think in everything,
That's good.
there's the ebb and flow, the tension. You like, you know, it's great running a business, but keeping track of taxes, bookkeeping, accounting is not my strong suit. That's just not. And, you know, in my video work, like, I love shooting, but man, when I have to lug gear in and out of this office, lug it in my trunk, move it over, I hate setting up stuff. I hate it. It's like, all right, let's set up this C-stand for the 100th time.
Right.
And then set up this. Oh, and then realizing that, hey, it's going to take another hour to tear down. It's like, can I just show up and shoot? And sure, if you have the luxury of just showing up and shooting, and some very few of you do. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, there will be things that get boring, and you just need to be able to figure out that, hey, it's okay if 10 or 15, 20% is boring, just as long as the majority of your work is intriguing and interesting. And for us, it's like, yeah, to be honest, yes, I do get bored of when we have long roast dates, roasting the same coffee, like our guat, we roast a lot of. It's like, cool, the same profile, the same thing we do over and over again. I don't know. I just don't, I'm not that passionate about that. However, when it's balanced, like what you were saying, like when it's balanced with, cool, I can make a social media post, like our packaging, this whole launch, actually also, folks, thank you so much for the support. Like literally you guys just blew it out of the water. So many people, it took me like literally almost an entire work day to pack all the orders, just nuts. But like the fact that we could work on a 15-month creative project, for me, I'm like, oh man, like as a creative person, this is the peak of running a business, even though this is like a slim, smaller portion, but I'm like, man, this is a creative project. Like this was like I worked on design stuff, on packaging stuff, on all this stuff, on branding, everything. That stuff makes me, and so you have to figure out how to balance things. And I don't think it's very actually even appropriate to just say things are boring, so I just need to leave
Move on, right.
and move on. And that goes back to what you were saying in the beginning. I don't think that attitude is the healthiest.
Yeah.
And of course, isn't a blanket statement for all situations, but I think being okay that, hey, there will be parts that you're gonna get bored of.
Yeah,
that's okay.
That's fine.
Yeah. But as long as that's not the majority of it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think I've ever let those things tint or hinder the things that I have like a lot of joy in. And I think that's key. That's what's kept coffee exciting for me since I've been in. Like I don't plan on leaving coffee ever. I don't know how it's going to change, how, my roles, how my ideas, how everything I do in coffee is going to just evolve, but I don't ever see not doing coffee. And that's me saying today, like mark it in the calendar. Today's the 26th, your birthday. Today's your birthday and the 26th, 2023. I'm saying that today. And I hope that remains, but that's my plan.
If you're going to stay in coffee forever, for good, what's one thing that you, as of right now, think that you always want to do forever?
I want to say dial in espresso, but I don't know if that's literally possible.
I mean, you could be like doing QC for multiple cafes, like that could be part of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But dialing in.
I just like tasting coffee. That makes me excited. But it's also hard because to taste a cup of coffee without sharing it with someone and seeing someone else's reaction is also kind of boring.
Without sharing it. Yeah.
So like that's has fair. To be both. That's why I have a hard time leaving the cafe space. But that's like, there's that tension that you and I have always talked about, and we've talked on the pod, is like, what does it mean to, be a roasting company and cafe and all of that. But those are the elements that keep me in it. And I think roasting is such a huge part of that. It's also like, if tasting coffee is my like this crux and sharing it with someone else, then I want to roast it too, because I want to get that taste that I can share with someone else. It's like everything is connected. But that element of like dialing in a coffee, tasting it, like having that like moment, your personal moment, and then taking that personal moment, sharing it with someone, and then seeing something light up in them. That's excellent.
There's something special in that moment of sharing and brewing it for somebody, and then just seeing the reaction to it is something else. And I think that's, little rant, but I think that's I don't really know. I don't know what the word is for this, but I think there's something here. Yeah. That I think it's the same for me with like creating a video and then just sitting there in the room with other people and being like, what do you think about this? And just like looking over, watching their reaction, and then watching it in real time with other people for the first time is like, oh, this is intriguing. Even if it's like, hey, this video sucked. It's still like that I think there's something there where you want to share something with someone that you created. Whether it's an espresso or a coffee that you roasted or whatever it is. But I'd agree. I think if there's one thing that, I want to do for good is I either want to do stuff like that's more business heavy, just like scaling things. I think I have an interest in that. Yeah. But I also, nothing beats cupping. There's something about cupping that I'm just like, I will say, cleaning up after cuppings, I hate. I will get bored of that. I'm so bored of cleaning up cuppings. I'm like, God, I have to wash all these bowls, and it's annoying. But I will say, man, if I could just be cupping just all day, just going through samples and samples of coffees, both good and bad. Sign me up.
Yeah, for sure. That's very similar to like dialing espresso, just slightly different.
Yeah. Friends, have you gotten bored? Do you get bored of coffee. What's the one thing that you're just like so bored of doing that's like part of your home brewing routine that you're like, God, I hate this? Filling up the reservoir on the machine. You have to like take it apart. What is it? Drop it down in the comments on YouTube. We always love interacting and hearing your guys' thoughts. Send us a couple emails. We love to hear from you guys. So thank you so much for listening or watching or both of another episode of the Coffee Roaster Warm-Up Sessions podcast. Friends, once again, thank you so much for supporting us on this massive launch. We're excited to keep moving forward and delivering some tasty coffees, as always. But friends...
I was going to say something about the elephant bean.
No, dude, the elephant bean needs to go. Friends, as always, reflect what's good.